Hello everyone, it's Leo and it's time to talk about episode 15 from wonderful PreCure. I'm sorry about my voice, but let's do this. One of the things that I loved about this episode, apart from it being very funny and Mei centered, I love Mei, is the fact that it showed a lot of that feeling of somebody who works very hard for something. They're always like trying their best, even if people around don't notice. They're doing everything they can. And when they feel like they're going to be appreciated for what they do, they get happy. It is gratificating seeing your work being noticed, being valued. That's such a nice feeling. And okay, the party wasn't for Mei, but at the end of the day, he felt appreciated for everything he does. So I really liked that aspect about this episode. So in this episode, we have Mayu entering the PreCure world even more than before. She goes to Nico Garden. Yuki is really in distress. She hates this situation and she does not want Mayu to be involved, but she is involved already. So they take Mayu to Nico Garden and they meet with Mei. Obviously, Mei with the dame was very funny. And also, I love that they're so silly that it's like, well, Mei told them to not tell anyone, and they did not tell Mayu anything. She found out. So this is a different thing, so there's no problem. I loved Komugi's face on that scene. It was everything. So Mei was like, oh my god, it should have been more specific. Like, girl, I think what you said englobes everything. But, you know, everyone shares the same brain cell in this show. So, you know, always very funny. The comedy on Wonderful is really, really on point. And they wanted Mayu to take a tour on Nico Garden. And what's funny is that, well, Mayu is the newest member of the group. She is the one who needs to take a tour on Nico Garden, but this is when they're actually going around Nico Garden. This is like we as the viewers are seeing more of Nico Garden in this episode. Because Mayu is seeing it, we are also seeing it. So we get to learn more about Nico Garden and also Mei's doings. You know, so it's funny because like it feels like the others, they already know about Nico Garden. It's Mayu's turn. But at the end of the day, like it was new for us, just as it was for Mayu. You know, even though we've already seen some things about Nico Garden, this is the episode that we saw it in a deeper way. So I love Mei's house. Mei's house looks super cute at the start of the episode. I love how Mei does his own coffee and gets ready for a new day. Very cute. And then when the girls arrive and they start doing things, we see some interesting stuff about Nico Garden. Let's talk about it. The first thing is that we see the girls and also Satoru. They are flying to get to the houses of the kidnapping animals because that's where they're going to visit. And they start looking at the animals and such. And one interesting thing is that Satoru sees an animal. I don't remember the name of the animal, but he sees an animal that is already extinct in our world. But in Nico Garden, they still exist. So it's a new information for us. And it's a very interesting information. It's kind of a sad information to think about animals that went extinct. I mean, if not for evolution, it's a very sad thing because, you know, if it's evolution, it's one thing. But if it's human actions that brought them to extinction, it's very sad. So it's nice to know that in that world, those animals, they have a second chance, you know. But, you know, this is just one little observation I wanted to make. So when they get to the kidnapping penguin house, I love that the kidnapping animals are super cute and they're so full of personality. There's not much distinct between them, but, you know, as a group, they are so full of personality and they're so colorful. I love it. So we see the penguins lighting and the girls starts lighting with the penguin while Mei works with Mayu. But Mei is the one that is actually cutting the plants and doing like little sculptures with the plants. Very cute. Like Mei is very good at their job. So when they get to other kitting animals' houses, the other kitting animals, they don't want to interact much. There's like this feeling with there's something weird because the penguin contacted them. Look, the PreCures are here. And so there's something weird in the air. And so they just, walk around kitting, the Nico garden, and they start doing other things. We also see them eating the Nico fruit. I forgot the name of the fruit. But it's interesting because Satoru is eating it for the first time in this episode as well. Because Satoru spends a lot of time there. What do they eat? Do they just drink coffee or tea? I don't know. Is that it? Mei, aren't you feeding Satoru properly? He's the only one who pays attention in you. And Satoru must have felt very happy because he spent a lot of time with Iroha in this episode, which is something he always wants to do, and it does not always go his way. And then, with the progression of the episode, we notice that there is something that the kitting animals are doing. And Mei starts to pay attention and investigate, and he learns that they're throwing a party. And Mei thinks the party is for him, so he gets very happy. And when they notice that there is a garu-garu, Mei wants them to go very fast because he wants them to come back because it's his party. Let's enjoy this moment. And let's talk about one thing about Mei. He had so many costumes in this. I think he dressed as with three different costumes in today's episode, apart from his regular one. So he has like 4 different attires, even though in one of them he doesn't dress much, but still, that means Mei has more costumes in 15 episodes of Wonderful PreCure than Rosemary has in 45 episodes of Delicious Party PreCure. Rosemary, you were done dirty. If you agree with me, put in the comments, #justice for Rosemary. Rosemary was such a slay. I love them. And so they get to Earth and they transform and they go against one other kitting animal that was turned into a garu-garu. We see Mayu and Satoru looking from afar, and Nyami paying, even from more afar, she was paying attention to the whole situation. And, well, Nyami was not happy because Mayu is now deeply involved in the whole situation. And it's very fun because Mayu did not even notice. She did not even mention Yuki once in today's episode. So, I understand if Yuki is feeling a little envious and a little angry at her. So the action scene or the chase scene in this episode was actually kind of funny. The girls didn't do much apart from the ribbon barrier being used as a trampoline by the garu-garu. And the actual star was obviously Mei, who used a kind of technique, become the big ball of fur, to stop the fawn and to actually use the food it likes against it. And so the girls were able to purify it. Obviously, the funny thing about that was that Mei was also involved in the purification. They purified Mei. Even though it was not necessary. I loved Mei's face, and they were just looking like wonderful. That was so funny. Like, that was so kind of like unintentionally funny. I don't know. It was just like, it was trying to be funny, but in a way the girls were confused, but they did not give them like a confused face or like a caricature face. It was just like their regular confused faces. I love that. And so, we have a new kitting animal, very cute, and they take them to Nico Garden, and there they have the beautiful party. They call the cures, and they all get a special entrance. I loved, like, visually, it was very, very pretty. I just love this season visually. Like, I feel like Wonderful is really pulling all the stops in its visual aspects. I love it. And ultimately, the party was not for Mei. The party was for the cures. The cures are the ones who are actually, doing the work, the heavy work on this season and purifying the animals. But obviously, Mei has a lot of pride in what he does. And a lot of the things that the cures are doing is because of Mei. Mei is also very, like, fundamental in everything that's going on. And Mei was feeling down. He was a little sad that he was not being valued. So we have Satoru jumping in a little bit and saying, look, You deserve to be praised. You do such a good job. You are an amazing butler. And apart from that, we have the fawn, the new kid-eating animal, giving Mei a drawing. And this drawing was probably done by the 5 kid-eating animals that we have now. Each one drew Mei in a different way, and I love that drawing. It looked so cute. And it was a way of showing appreciation to everything Mei does, to all the work that he puts out. And Mei started crying. I almost cried with him. It was very cute. I loved that moment. I feel like it is something that gives Mei a lot of happiness. And if Mei is feeling happy, I'm also feeling happy because I love Mei. So it was a very sweet way of ending this episode. And for an episode that was supposed to be Mayu's introduction to Nico Garden, I felt like Mayu was very sidelined. I feel like she played a lot for comedy with Mei, especially wanting to touch Mei all the time. But we didn't see much of Mayu. And I feel like it was okay, like when they were focusing on Mei, because we needed that. But for an episode that fell down in the middle of Mayu's arc, I found that a little weird. But we have a lot more to be a build-up to her debut as Cure Lillian, so I'm very excited for that. And I think that's it. Next week, we are going to have an episode focused on the Mirror Stone and also a crossover with PreCure, wonderful PreCure, and Crayon Shin-chan. So very exciting. Anyways, babies, this is it. Before finishing, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much to everyone who reached out and sent messages for my well-being. Thank you. I think you noticed that in my voice that I'm not in my best condition. I was going to travel. I had to cancel my trip. I'm feeling very sad because of it. But also, obviously, I have to take care of myself because I have pneumonia and it's a very serious issue. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to travel. I'm staying home, taking care, and coughing a lot with it. So thank you all to all the lovely messages. They really, really filled my heart. They made me cry a lot. Thank you very much. And also thank you to the members, the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel here on YouTube, on Patreon, on Throne. Thank you all so much for your support, for making everything possible here on Magical Cinnamon. And if you've watched up until now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.